So today we're going to be focusing on an eggplant. An eggplant is a late summer actual fruit. We classify it as a vegetable in our dishes, but it's actually a fruit. I thought that was kind of a neat thing. A lot of people have come to me and said before that they had no idea what to do with an eggplant. Well, today I'm going to make some eggplant crisps. And what it is you're just slicing it up, putting some oil and some Parmesan cheese on, and crisping them up in the oven. It's a delicious snack and a wonderful way to use up your eggplant that you get at the market. So when you're caring for and picking out, you want a medium-sized eggplant. The larger they are, they do become more bitter. So if you get a larger one like this, well, I'll show you what to do in regards to scooping out the large seeds, and that takes the bitterness that people may have been experiencing when they've dealt with a larger eggplant. Now, you do not have to peel this. That's the best part. The goodness of the purple is in the skin. So you do want to leave the skin on, and when you're dealing with the Parmesans and when you're dealing with these crisps, yes, keep the skin on. Gently wash it, wipe it off. These can be kept in the refrigerator 4 to 7 days, but you can also keep them in a non-sun direct area of your kitchen. So what I mean by that is put it in a dark corner. Make sure direct sunlight does not interact or land on the vegetable. All right, so in working with this recipe, what you want to do is you want to, I just peel this back, right? Taking that tight leaf off the top and dumping that and getting rid of that. Cut the top off, right? So inside, taking the end off. And being that this is such a large one, notice there's no seeds in there right now. So when you're cutting for this, you want to cut it 1/8 of an inch. So that's pretty thin. But if you can't get to 1/8 of an inch, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. But as even as possible. So taking your time. Mine are a little bit thicker. All right, so that's about as thick as you want them. That's a little bit on the thicker side. That's almost more like 1/4 of an inch, but that's fine. As I'm getting down to more seeds, I'm going to want to cut this in half. And that is because we want to remove the seeds out of there. So I'm going to top it to the top and just slice it down. Now, notice all these darker seeds. That's what we're talking about that has the bitterness that you want to remove from the center. So what I'm going to do is just take a spoon and do a scrape and take them out. They're not that big, but they're what causes the bitterness. Now, the best part about an eggplant, here again we have something that's packed full of fiber. And again, that fiber is great for your digestive system, and it's also great for curbing that hunger, and so you'll stay fuller longer. Also, it's packed full of antioxidants, and I talked earlier about how antioxidant is actually anti-aging. It helps with your memory, it helps with your learning, and it helps with aging skin looking better. So if you were a suntanner like me, you need your antioxidants. All right, continue to get your cut at about the same width. Now, when you're dealing with an eggplant, remember, you're looking to have a nutrient-dense, delicious food with that vitamin K, which is, again, really good for your blood. That vitamin B complex that helps with your digestion, and your add to that magnesium and potassium that is heart healthy. So you're looking at wonderful, packed full of deliciousness in one bite. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what I have and show you how to put this together. Taking a tray, now I lined it with parchment paper. You don't have to. You can do a non-stick spray instead, but parchment paper makes it a great way for an easy cleanup. And it's really not as expensive as wax paper. So what you're going to do is lay them on your tray in any order you wish, just enough space for all of them. All right, that's what I have enough space for. Take yourself a pastry brush. You could use a towel and dab, dab, dab it. It doesn't have to be a pastry brush if that's not what you have. Take some oil, brush them. Now, I'm going to brush and flip. Now I'm going to give them a flip and do the same thing on the other side. Now the recipe that I'm using doesn't call for Parmesan cheese, just calls for a seasoning of your choice. It could be paprika, it can be a Cajun hot spice, it could be paprikas, it could be cumins, but I'm going to use Italian seasoning and a Parmesan cheese to sprinkle on top. Once that oil and that Parmesan crisp up together, it gives it an extra flavor. Parmesan cheese is one of those great low-fat, digestible cheeses that is great to add to a recipe for a little bit of flavor and not a whole bunch of calorie. Making sure they're nice and coated. And again, I do recommend the use of olive oil in this recipe, being that olive oil is completely digestible by the human body, while the canolas and vegetables oils are not. Now I've taken some Parmesan cheese, mixed in some Italian seasoning, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on top to give it a little bit of additional flavor. Looks delicious to me already. Get that on there, spread it out just a little bit, make sure all of it's covered for the best flavoring and the most even way to cook it. Now when you're cooking these, I highly recommend you check it within at least 20 minutes. Depending on the thickness of your cut, the thinner you go, the crisper and the darker they're going to cook. And the thicker they are, the longer and the less crisp they will get. So it just varies on your cut, so I do highly recommend that you check this. You're going to put this in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes, but remember to check it after 20. Now let's get these into our oven. Remember 350, 30 minutes, and remember to check 20 minutes in based on the thickness in which you cut them. it is time to go check on our eggplant crisps. Now remember, we needed to check them to make sure that they were okay. So let's go on them over here and let's look in. Let's see what we got here. Oh, those are beautiful. A nice, crisp color, not brown. You'll notice that one's a little bit darker, and that's due to the thickness of the cut. So that's one thing that you have to be aware of. So when you're doing this at home, make sure you let them cool, because the longer you let them cool, the more crisp they'll become. But let's go ahead and take them off the sheet and put them on a plate. Now, remember, you can also cook an eggplant, chop it up and put it in your sauce. Your kids won't even know it's in there, and you get all the antioxidant properties that you would have in a purple fruit or vegetable, but the kids don't even know you put it in there. It's such a great idea. There we go. There we have it. Here you go. Some fresh eggplant crisp without the mushiness that you may have experienced in the past with other eggplant recipes. Enjoy.